The desert sun beat relentless as Johnny Deadshot West struck out alone into the rugged wilderness, jaw set hard beneath day's dusty rim. Gone were the days of camaraderie. Partners lay buried neath Boot Hill's wooden markers, with only ghosts for company now. But one soul yet eluded the Reaper's cold grasp, Black Jack Mallory, and Deadshot aimed to settle that account permanent. Guiding his temperamental bay up the precarious slope, Deadshot ruminated bitter on the betrayals that soured his union with Mallory and Holiday. Trust came dear this side of the territory, and truth proved ever a scarce commodity. Maybe he weren't cut out for riding with a crew nohow. Lone wolves lived lean, but died wise. As his saddle creaked loud in the lonesome stillness, Deadshot reckoned solitude suited him fair right about now. The afternoon sun broiled relentless as horse and man climbed ever upward towards the saw-toothed peaks rended asunder by the hand of God. Sweat stung Deadshot's squinted gaze. Still he pressed on without pause, keen to close the distance twixt himself and the last soul what knew the way to the ghostly fortune he aimed to unearth or put to rest for eternity. As Deadshot traced a winding natural trail up the sheer rock face, unwelcome visions crept alongside. Doc Holliday, full of fire and swagger, bestowing sly grins over hands of ill-gotten plunder won by wit and grit. That last hellish day, Holliday's lucky streak ran cold and bloody neath a shotgun's thunder in some nameless saloon dirt road to perdition. Deadshot's weathered countenance creased hard, forcing back useless shades. Weren't no currency in chasing ghosts could balance the flesh and blood sacrifice they had all paid. Yet still he climbed tireless, the pain familiar as an old friend. His had been a solitary road near all his days. Why should fate change her fickle tune now? The orange ember of sunset seared the broken peaks as Deadshot guided his snorting steed up the last narrow track to a sheltered ridge. Both man and beast blew hard, the relentless ascent taking its toll. Still, the gunman's hawk-like gaze stayed trained on the ever-receding valley behind, nose keen for any unexpected threat. In wild country, predators came in legion forms. A throaty snarl spun Deadshot sharp in the saddle, iron-clearing leather with viper reflexes. There, perched on an outcrop just above, stood a lean mountain lion, amber eyes fixated hungrily on horse and rider. The big cat's tail lashed once in warning as her sleek muscles bunched for a killing spring. In a heartbeat, Deadshot's peacemaker shattered the twilight, its report setting his muzzled mount to bucking frantic. But the heavy slug barely grazed that honey gold pelt, instead sparking off stone inches from the snarling lioness. She hesitated, wary respect kindling in her feral glare. Deadshot tipped his hat cordial, then watched her melt soundless into purple shadows. Even wilderness-born killers answered respect in kind out here. With crackling mesquite branch and crisp mountain breeze whispering low in the gloom, Deadshot strode the edge of night-camped solitary beneath an ocean of glittering stars. Rolling a tobacco chaw slow across his weathered tongue, he pondered how each unwinking celestial eye probably glimpsed a dozen fools just like him, scrabbling after gold dust promises right now, heedless of costs. Wealth shone brighter than heaven's light for most. Come the moonless dark, Deadshot twisted restless in his bedroll, dreams haunted by judgment's specter. Once again he lived the fateful confrontation with Red Feather amidst those decaying Confederate ruins, words and bullets flying faster than thought. He saw again the scout's defiance crumble towards horrified disbelief when Lead tore through his belly. In his death throes, Red Feather's coal-bright eyes accused as blood bubbled crimson through his teeth. Then that light faded for good, his body going slack onto dusty boards. "Ain't nary cause nor profit in this, son," the scout's dying whisper echoed disembodied through Deadshot's mind. Maybe truth lingered in those last words he failed to heed. Dawn's rosy caress found Deadshot stirring the campfire's embers, gaze set grim on the jagged peak still distant across the yawning divide. The night's phantoms had bestowed scant rest for man nor beast. But the gunman reckoned living ghosts made better fuel for the trials yet to come. He aimed to have words with one particular lost soul for this day's end. Hoof strikes rang sharp off flinty stone as Deadshot urged his rested mount ever upward into that stratosphere of rock and thin dreaming. Granite walls narrowed the path ahead to a lonesome artery connecting this world to whatever lay beyond. Lichens and last night's ice glazed the sheer drop, awaiting any misstep. Deadshot leaned forward in his creaking saddle, willing fresh speed, even as the bay snorted protest. Sky and summit beckoned them on feverish. Deadshot's squinted gaze tracked sudden movement up amidst the scree, a scruffy dun mare picking her path slow along the precipice. The rider, warring hat and oilskin duster, kept his face obscured from idle eyes. But Deadshot recognized the set of those shoulders well as his own. Mallory. What ghost nor devil could keep that rascal in the dirt? Deadshot tightened his reins, coaxing the stallion easy up that last incline toward destiny unknown. Sensing company on his back trail, Mallory spun sharp with iron glinting. At glimpse of Deadshot, though, he returned the colt casual to leather and touched his hat brim cordial. Reckon the buzzards are the sole soul I expected to find in this lonesome emptiness. What brings you out alone on this devil's back road, amigo? Deadshot dismounted calm, boots scuffing light. His emerald gaze pinned Mallory with glacier calm. Shape you're in? Guess you've been running shy of angels too of late. I believe you still owe me a powerful debt from that dust-up in Clearwater. One I aim to settle direct. Mallory's grin held more grit now than mirth. His palm hovered near where his iron slumbered. That loud ruckus weren't my own design nor doing, Deadshot. You ought know I favor cooperation more amenable than boots in the dirt. Is that so? Deadshot hawked contemptuous. Thumbs hooked casual over his belt, inches from twin peacemakers. Guess old Holiday dying aggrieved under your boot heels was just a social misunderstanding then? Mallory spat sideways, some of his oil restored. Confound it all, how many more times I got to trot this out? I didn't birth that riot nor aim no barrels. Talk sense or I'll be on my way, you damned mule. Deadshot shook his head rueful, taking a measured step nigher. Ain't no point debating the past now, Mallory. Whatever your scheme was, it all come undone thanks to your loose tongue. But I mean to remedy that permanent... In a flurry, Mallory grabbed iron, but Deadshot was a breath quicker, fanning twin hammers in a thunderous staccato that shattered the scrub silence. Mallory cursed, off balance. Deadshot's second shot grazed fire across the outlaw's shooting hand. Then Deadshot's boot hooked Mallory's leg, and they crashed together, breathing hate, hell-bent on destruction. Fists and spurs, they tumbled vicious over the rocky terrain. Mallory landed bone-cracking blows till vision went white. Deadshot clung on, wrenching his enemy's weapon free to fling loose over the cliff brink. He sought to throttle the life from Black Jack, but that devil reversed hard, now raining punishing rights to Deadshot's ribs and ruins. Mallory pinned Deadshot awkward to the stony ground, iron knuckles grinding his cheek into pebbles while his throttling grip choked the breath away. Gutter were needed to turn the tide or die feral at this wolf's mercy. Deadshot clawed frantic for any weapon loose to hand. His fist closed round sun-warmed metal. Mallory's Colt, primed deadly for action. With a grunt, Deadshot thrust that smoking muzzle firm into Mallory's guts and pulled the trigger. At that range, even Winterhide's wouldn't slow Lead's wrath. The sharp bark echoed loud off the mountains as Mallory gasped hoarse, features slackening disbelief. Deadshot untangled rough from that bloody mess, lungs starved for air as he peered down, numb at his expiring enemy. But Black Jack clung stubborn to life, chuckling thinly through scarlet froth. Never figured you for a backshooter, Deadshot, but fortune favors, the boldest gambit in these dark territories. Mallory spoke, coughing and clutching his wound. You know, Deadshot, I always was more fox than hound. Those careless gestures throughout the journey, disappearances, weren't mistakes. They were messages. I was hired, see? Hired by shadows, chasing that Confederate gold. Didn't know their faces, just whispers in the dark, orders through go-betweens. Deadshot, his gun still trained on Mallory, responded, You led us into a viper's nest. Mallory echoed a painful laugh. A viper's dance, more like. Every step, every move choreographed. The marks on my belt, scratches on trees. They were signals to my men. The same ones we met in that barn. They were gathering intelligence, reporting back to those faceless masters. Deadshot shot back with hardened expression. You turned us into prey. Mallory blurted out, "It was a game, Deadshot. A dangerous one, I admit. The Clearwater Clash. That was their doing. A message from those mediators. They wanted to wipe the board clean, to eliminate you, Holiday, anyone close to the truth. I never meant for blood to spill." Deadshot gritted his teeth. "And Holiday? Was his blood part of your game too?" Mallory's eyes displayed a sorrowful pain. "No, by the devils, no. Holiday. That was a twist I never saw coming. Had a hunch in Clearwater that Doc had smelled part of our plan. Thought I could outsmart, grab the gold, vanish. But it spiraled. Out of control. I'm a thief, Deadshot, not a murderer. You played with fire, Mallory. And now we're all getting burned." Labored through ragged pain, Mallory grasped Deadshot's battered sleeve, pulling him closer. "Since I'll soon stand before heaven's gates for judgment, I'll whisper where last I caught strong scent of that ghost army gold." His words came faint now, breath shallow and fleeting. "Maybe you can buy yourself grace I never merited. Ride west through Boulder Hollow till the Rio Verde bends tight as a tick's grin. Secret veins yield blood wealth there." Deadshot stared open-mouthed as Mallory's last lungful rattled free. Then the outlaw's muscle went limp and his weathered body sagged immediate into death's cold embrace. Now Black Jack Mallory would scheme nor betray no more. Alone atop that desolate purgatory, Deadshot staggered mute, knuckles ash white on his kissed steel revolver. So much lost waiting through rivers of blood spilled chasing fever visions of fortune shining brighter than angel's grace. For what? More pointless miles yet to ride, more ghosts to bury? When would the next wayward shot instead lay him low for eternity? A new light kindled in Deadshot's emerald eyes as he glared past the saw-toothed horizon. He weren't no churchly clerk to weigh Mallory's immortal soul, nor judge what mercy remained for one who lived by hot lead and cold wrath. Each man's path held its share of glories and judgments. His course now seemed straighter without fork nor bramble to hinder the reaper's final verdict. Stiffly, Deadshot mounted up and turned his steed downhill where new adventure beckoned. Whatever fate awaited in them shadowed canyons, he would ride bold to meet it with steel in his spine and iron at his hip. The ghosts called to him relentless, promised riches their siren song. But Deadshot aimed to settle accounts permanent soon as the next quizzy devil showed face, be it man or immortal spirit. His cold code would sustain long as breath rattled yet inside his guts. Ain't many truths held currency on this harsh frontier. But death always claimed her due from every mortal gambler sooner than later. And Deadshot never welched nor dodged no marker once fate anted up. He would see this hand play out to the final river card and beyond, come hell's own demons or high water. Destiny awaited out yonder. Best he ride on to meet it.